All right, everybody. So another episode here live from Inspection Fuel Dallas. And this has been an awesome first day so far. We got Kal Patel here joining the show. One of my favorite people at all of the conferences, mainly because if there's one thing you know how to do besides invest, it's have a good time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. How do you strike that balance between like just, enjoying life, but also, thinking big picture with your businesses?
So look, everything worth doing has to have a reason behind it, right? So when I look at any business, if it's not going to satisfy some purpose, right? Finding the why, then what's the purpose of doing it? I get a lot of people that say, hey, I want to make a lot of money. That's fantastic, but you can make money doing multiple things. But if you don't get the enjoyment from doing what you do, what's the point?
No, that's good. I honestly, this is one of the reasons that I switched over to Porch. I did home inspections in the field for just about 8 years. I'm still licensed, but honestly, I was presented with an opportunity where I get to run around the country with a camera, and I'm like, that just sounds way more fun. Like, go hang out with some really cool people, have some really good bourbon that we got right here,
Absolutely.
and then talk about how to help other people grow their businesses.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you're doing is really trying to help other people with taking their business to the next level, because this is something that you've been very successful in. So.
Yes. So, whenever I was speaking, it was really about how
So many outtakes.
I listen.
All right, yeah, we need to loosen this up. All right, first of all, cheers.
Yes.
That's really good.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So when you think about the businesses that I'm currently involved in, all of them have had some kind of a need out there, right? There was a void. And for me, it was, how do I fill that void? I'm not only winning myself or even the customer winning, it's multiple people winning, right? There's always win-win-win. Mm-hmm. It's not just a win-win situation, which is what most people think it is. So for me, it's about how do you grow different businesses based on the need, right? It's not just, home inspections. We do radon testing. We do termite inspections. We do all of these different things, but they're all in the same vertical. So for me, it's how do we find a different vertical that can help fill that void, that need, and then just continue to grow. And you can use a lot of the same business practices, principles from one business to the other. So
no, that's good. Because again, one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about today, besides drinking excellent bourbon, and before we jump into the topic, I got to say, I thought you poured me like a single, and I went to go shoot this thing.
Oh, no.
And I just, look, there's a way to sip bourbon and there's a way to be an alcoholic. And I went the second route, okay? When I intended to just enjoy it. First of all, on a previous podcast that I used to do, we used to have this thing called the Drink of the Day. And because one of the things that we enjoy doing as home inspectors at these conferences is, enjoying a libation or five after hours, HR. But we used to do this on the podcast. I used to do it with Ashy. And so anyway, I and you as well, we enjoy good bourbon, right?
Absolutely.
So today we are sipping, what do we have here? It's a 15-year.
It's a 15-year from Preservation Distillery, which is in Bardstown, Kentucky.
Okay, yeah, it's called Rare Perfection, cask strength, 15 years old, only 119 proof.
It's very light.
Yeah. I was going to say a sipping one that I just faced.
I saw you take a
little bit
like,
more.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, that was a little more than I bargained for. But that's an interview with Kal Patel. So
gotta have fun. If you're not having fun, don't do it.
Absolutely, but no. Okay, so this is excellent. First of all, the nose on this is fantastic because it was in my nose, and secondly, no, I mean it has that nice, strong kind of an oaky finish with a little bit of spice there at the end as well.
It's got some cinnamon.
Yeah,
A little bit of caramel.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
it's excellent. Okay, so let's jump into what we are really here to talk about today. You are excellent at finding different ways outside of the box to achieve those same vertical measures of success. So whereas a lot of inspectors within the inspection industry have this tendency to kind of duplicate each other,
right?
Which isn't bad. I mean, even when it comes to content creation, gosh, how does the saying go? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Right. So if I see somebody else doing something that's successful, I'm like, hey, maybe I can steal that and implement it as well.
Absolutely.
But what ends up happening is you have inspection company after inspection company where it's like, okay, well, I'll get into termite, I'll get into mold abatement, I'll get into pick what everybody else is doing.
Right.
And they'll just pursue that one thing. But I find that what ends up happening is you hit a little bit of a ceiling. You seem to have found a way to branch outside and think outside of the box when it comes to how you take the financial success from one business and look to invest it elsewhere.
Yeah. So it's one of the things that I did early on. I started in the hotel side and I ended up getting out of that, got in the inspection business. And then I took the money that I made from the inspection business and it started the hotel side again because I wanted to diversify. I mean, the service business is great, but having real estate was also important. So that's why I chose the hotels because every asset, even in a downturn, is still going to be valuable. So just trying to diversify the portfolio and make sure that you have a good balance. And then my next one was the urgent care business, which, again, you think about the need of it. It's always going to be a necessity, right? It's a matter of how can we provide a better service, a better patient experience. And it is somewhat recessionary proof,
Sure.
right? Everyone always, including myself, I'm very accident prone. My wife tries to put me in bubble wrap every time I go anywhere. So
Now, is this just I don't know whether it's lifestyle or poor choices. Like, what is it here that leads to the injury proneness?
it's probably me being clumsy.
Okay,
So
I can identify with this. Cheers to that.
yes, cheers,
Yeah.
cheers. We went to Panama with my daughters and my wife, and we're just hanging out in the swimming pool, throwing a Nerf football around. Some kid threw a real football. I didn't realize it was real. Went up to grab it, and when I did, it hit my pinky and popped it all the way back, broke it.
Oh my gosh, man.
Thank God we were leaving the next day to come back to the States. As soon as we get here, go to the urgent care. Sure enough, it's fractured, which I knew it was.
Was it your own urgent care?
No, this
Okay.
was before. So this is what kind of prompted me to get into the urgent care space. I walk in, there's no one in the lobby, 0 patients waiting. I go to the front, the lady up there, she's like, "What do you need?" I was like, "I think I broke my pinky." She goes, "Okay, here's a clipboard, fill it out." I'm like,
What am I supposed to write?
right, right. And so, and I'm looking around going, "There's no one here. Can you not offer to help?" So I filled out everything, gave it to her, go in the back. 20 minutes later, doc comes in. I don't know what they did for 20 minutes. There was no one there. Comes in, says, "Oh yeah, it looks like it's broken. You'll have to get an x-ray." I said, "Okay, great. Let's go back there and do an x-ray." Comes back and gives me a prescription for a x-ray. They don't have x-ray on site.
At an urgent care.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's a lot of them. They advertise it, but they don't really have an x-ray tech available. So now I left from there, went to an x-ray lab, got the x-ray. So it's like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you tell me up front? Because I said I broke my pinky. Why not tell me, hey, we don't have an x-ray?
Especially if that's, I mean, it seems like a reasonable thing that you would need following an injury of that nature. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I ended up at that point saying every experience I've had has been very similar. Okay. It's just very dry, sterile. I'm a number, right? It's commoditized. And that's when I thought about how do we bring hospitality into this business? Because hospitality is in the home inspection business. You can't just be rude, right? Otherwise, you're not going to get the customer to come back or the real estate agent. So there is a level of hospitality involved. Hotels, it's all about hospitality. So when we did our urgent care, we have a very nice ambiance music that's playing at a certain megahertz that causes people to naturally feel better.
So it's a step above elevator music.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Intentional.
Because I
Okay.
feel like elevator music just pisses people off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nobody
They're
wants
they're
that.
not choosing the right frequency.
That's it.
They're missing that.
So, okay, did you actually do study on this?
I did.
That's amazing.
I did.
Okay. Now, is it just because you hated the music in that experience at the other urgent care, or
So
where did this study come from?
I do meditation, I do yoga, breathing exercise, and everything is intentional, right? So when you're listening to certain frequency music, it can make you feel good. It can make you feel sad. It can make you feel happy. So trying to figure out which of those frequencies would make people feel happy. Then we added, sorry,
No,
then
go
we
ahead.
added cloud ceilings, like LED cloud ceilings, because we're in Ohio. It's always dark and gloomy. We added colored ceiling tiles. We added a coffee machine, cappuccino machine. So it's not a Keurig cup. You can actually press cappuccino, what strength you want, and it'll give you a cappuccino. Bottled water, because every urgent care I go to has a water fountain. I don't need a bunch of sick people drinking out of the same fountain. It just didn't make sense.
No, it does make sense. Yeah. Well, I mean, yours makes sense. The other doesn't.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
why would you, and then teaching everyone to be hospitable. I mean,
That's amazing, man.
yeah. So we've been able to, again, we're efficient, 45 minutes in and out. But if we need to spend an hour, we will. We're not going to say, hey, that's our minimum standard, so we got to get you out. No, let's take care of the patient. We've got a children's room, so it's got cartoons going on, got graphics of Disney. We give you a frozen lollipop or a popsicle or whatever they call it.
I've had a melted popsicle and it was just a stick. It's a bad dad joke. Yeah.
That's because you're in Florida. I mean,
That's
what
it. Yeah,
happens
yeah.
down there. Everything melts.
Eat it fast. That's it. Yeah.
So, so yeah, it's if you just think about it, that could be transitioned to any business, right? So, home inspections. When you get done with the inspection, if you've got children there, having something that you can give them so that they feel like they were a part of the experience. It's not much to elevate the experience. You just got to think about the little things and do them.
No, that's important. So, okay, and again, these are things that convey from one industry to the other. It sounds to me you've pursued interests that you've recognized the need. You've then gone and saw fit to meet the need. But that is a concept that applies no matter the industry.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So again, all right, what are things that home inspectors, since we're here at a home inspection conference, what are things aside from, thinking of everybody that's involved in the home inspection, kids included,
Right.
what are things that home inspectors can be thinking of in terms of elevating their business and taking it to the next level in a way that focuses on the experience?
Absolutely. So it starts with people always say the home inspection starts after the client gets to the site or the real estate agent, you go meet with them. It actually starts before that. So the journey starts when you first think about social media marketing. If they see a social media post or they're getting an email or something, the journey actually starts there. And it ends after they get the review response, right? That actually completes the full cycle of the sales circle. So you've got to really start thinking about how am I marketing on the front end, right? Am I putting the right ads out there? Am I doing the right social media? Am I capturing that guest or that customer, patient, whatever, right? Again, any industry. For the home inspection side, am I actually attracting the buyer or the seller based on the information content that I'm putting out? If you are, and then they do a call to action, they call you, you schedule the inspection, you get to the inspection, you go through the process, you're delivering the highest value of knowledge, right? Knowledge transformation, being intentional about what you're saying at the inspection, educating them, get through that whole process, finish up, you ask for the review, they write a review. Are you responding within 24 hours? If you're not, again, you're missing on that full cycle. So you could do everything else good and you miss that. You didn't really complete the full cycle.
That's actually good. I mean, what do you say to the concept? Because again, this is really something that's being kicked around a lot within the inspection industry. It's finding the inspector's utility beyond the end of that typical cycle. Like, how do you actually stay relevant beyond getting that report or that review? How do you come back a year later or 2 years later and still be essential and relevant to buyers? Do you think there's a way to extend that experience beyond
Oh,
just the normal
absolutely.
inspection phase?
Absolutely. So if you complete that cycle correctly, then you've got an email or something that goes out maybe every quarter or maybe during radon month, letting them know, hey, it's radon month, be aware, blah, blah, blah. Just staying in touch with them. Maybe at the 1 year, you send out another email. Hey, it's been 11 months. You might want to go ahead and get a reinspection done. We'd be more than happy to come out. And it's not about the sale at that point. So don't try to say, well, yeah, it's going to be whatever the normal house inspection. You're a consultant. So even if you go out for an hour and just do a follow up and just walk through, charge them $75, they are going to feel like you actually cared, which again, you should if you're in the business of doing what we're doing.
No, truly.
Right.
And I love that you have looked to diversify your business beyond, I guess, just the inspection sphere or the real estate sphere. But in each element, there's an attitude of caring for that customer.
Absolutely.
Each business that you've invested in is about caring for that customer.
Absolutely.
So with home inspections, it's for a home buyer. In the hotel space, it's for your guest. And then once you're coming back to, again, emergency care, it's somebody that is literally, they are in a critical moment in their life right there. And they need somebody that understands and kind of ministers, in a sense, to exactly where they're at with what they're going through right then.
Right.
So at every front,
Absolutely.
that's huge.
So, then you go into the social media because we've started our social media ad agency, which my daughter, third year college, her and I started that, and it's called Social Saya. Her name is Saya. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, so she has 4 employees now that are high school, college kids. We have about 30 clients, and they're across various industries. Even on that front, like I didn't understand the importance of it because I had hired other social media companies, and they just never fulfilled my expectation of what I needed.
Sure.
That's why I started that company. And when we did it, we're doing social media posts. Then we go to the listings, which are very important. And then follow up with the third is the reviews and responses. So when you do that, those are interconnected. And if you miss one of those and you say, oh, well, I'm doing social media posts, I'm covering it. No, you got to be listed. And during my presentation, some of the folks had asked, what do you mean by listings? There are companies out there that will allow you to list across like 200 different sites, but you got to pay for it. Or you can manually go in and sign up for each one of those. But if you change the information from an address or hours, you got to then manually go in and change each one. Or you can hire a company like us, or there's Yext out there, there's a bunch of companies, and they will do it for you.
Sure.
The review side, we have an automated, so we use a lot of Gen AI. 24 hours or less, you're going to get responses to all of your 5-star and 4-star reviews, but they're personalized. They're not just a cookie cutter templated. They are so we have directives that we teach the AI how to respond.
That's fantastic. So you're actually coaching the AI to be more human in its response so that it doesn't just sound like Chat GPT.
Absolutely.
No, that's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
So, okay, and now how can home inspectors then, kind of taking it back to what we're here for, how can home inspectors look to implement something like that? I've talked with Aaron Shashilla about the importance of using modern tools like ChatGPT.
Right.
But you do really have to still be hands-on and intentional with how you implement it. So, what are steps that home inspectors can be taking so that they can automate some aspects of their business, but doing it in a way that's authentic?
Absolutely. So there are many platforms out there. Do some investigating, do some comparisons. You're still going to have to be involved and be intentional, like you had mentioned, because you can automate some of that, but it still needs your touch, right? So someone's got to be responding, reviewing, doing some of the little oversight is what I would say, right? But there are so many companies out there right now. I mean, there are at least 4 or 5 companies here, vendors, that do some of these things. So it's it doesn't cost anything to go talk to them, right? And
Right.
most of these vendors are really nice. Like I've been talking to them, they're telling me, hey, here's what we do, here's how we do it. I've been sharing what I do, how I do it. At some point in time, we're going to be able to help each other solve the problems that others out there are going, how do we fix this? We got a bunch of smart minds here.
No, truly, absolutely. And honestly, I find that thinking intelligently means looking for solutions that other people are not looking for, right? So I
Absolutely.
kind of want to pivot a little bit towards, we've touched on it very briefly, but how do you coach home inspectors to think bigger picture than just their own industry? Like experience kind of taught you, seeing the need helped you as far as like seeing the opportunity with either healthcare or with marketing or with, again, with hotels.
Right.
But how can a home inspector break outside of kind of the mindset of thinking insularly within this industry
Yeah.
and kind of seeing opportunities bigger?
I always tell people if you can start with the why, and there's a book out there, right? If you can start with the why.
Which book? There's like 10 of them out there about yeah, knowing your why. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Which one helped you? Yeah.
Yes. So I have a whole list of books. I'll send them to you. Okay. But the start with the why. So if you just think about purpose, right? What is it that would give you satisfaction of doing something? So if you're sitting around and you see something and you're like, wait, I think I can make this better and help other people. It could be anything. I mean, I had a buddy of mine who was an architect, and he came up with a solution for sprinklers outside. He's like, sprinkler systems cost so much. I created this little thing, and he sent me a picture. He goes, do you think we can patent it? I said, you know what? I think we can. So we're working on it right now. All because he was like, I got to find a solution. And he was purposeful, right? Like he showed it to his neighbors. Every one of his neighbors bought one. And literally he made it for like $10.
Okay, no, I love that you're thinking big picture like that, finding the opportunities within life. But let's make this personal because, again, we're not just business owners, we're people. And one of the best things about this industry is really just kind of the human aspect of connecting with each other, talking life outside of this. I mean, you brought your family here with you, which I think is amazing. So let's make this real personal. Taking the business owner hat off. Mm-hmm. For Kal Patel, what are 5 top goals that you have or things, and it doesn't even have to be business related, okay?
Yeah.
But what are some opportunities that you want to embrace and tackle in 2025?
So 2025, number one important thing is my wife and I, we're planning on going on a 3-week vacation.
3 whole weeks? All right, man.
So it's funny because we've done the 1 to 2 weeks, but it's always with the kids. So we're planning on doing at least a 3-week. Probably she shouldn't hear this, but we're going to throw in business in there. There's a conference that I want to.
You have to write it off somehow.
Yes. There's a Gen AI conference that I want to go to in Europe in July. So I'm like, let's do a trip. 3 weeks. We'll go to Europe. She's like, okay. So I'll kind of spring it on her after,
Yeah. Oh, poor lady.
But yeah, so that's number one. Doing that. Number 2, I would say is business related, but I want to unload some of the businesses that are more time consumption.
Okay.
So I'm planning on selling some of my hotel assets. Number 3 would be to increase what I'm doing with Social Saya, just because. So my daughter is 3rd year college, right? So we started going to conferences together, and we're having such a blast. I mean, she's meeting with CFOs and CMOs, and I'm like, who are you? So
she's Kal Patel's daughter.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh. So both of my daughters want to now start going to more conferences. So we actually thought about doing it together as a family and just starting to hit some conferences together. And, look, you meet great people. They're there because of purpose. We're there purposeful. It's like, it's so much that can happen, right? Even on a personal side. So you just never know. And then last would be spending more time with my dad. He's 84. Don't know how much longer he has. I lost my mom 4 years ago during COVID. And so I want to try
Sorry for that, by the way.
Thank you. So yeah, I just want to spend time with him, spend time with the family. older one is fourth year college. She's leaving after next year. She's doing architecture. Finally got her, I think, convinced to come and take over one of the companies, and she could do the development and construction and whatnot. So just spend time with the family, try to do things that we just have missed out on the last 4 years because they've been busy with college. I've been busy launching new businesses. And I'll add a sixth. My wife wants me to stop starting businesses. So
You're kind of addicted to this.
I know.
Yeah.
I am. So I'm hoping that I can stop doing that, but it'll be challenging because my next part of the journey is really to give back to schools. So I'm working with the local schools. I go in and do entrepreneurship classes. I do mini Shark Tank things that I'm a judge on, and just helping the young people, right? Because they need direction. So many of them have so many ideas. I get a call at least once a month. Hey, Mr. Patel, I have this idea. What do you think? Can we launch it? So I literally have them come in the office. We spend 3 hours talking about it, and I give them feedback, and then they go and do some more homework. I love that. I love
You
it.
absolutely need to come with me to Mexico, first of all.
Let's do it.
No, I'm not even
love
kidding, man. Yeah. So, all right. I partner with shameless plug because Giving Tuesday is coming up right after Thanksgiving. There's an organization I partner with called the Allo Family. And what we do is basically train and coach people to be self-sustaining entrepreneurs in a part of Mexico where they make like $5 a week.
Yeah.
On average. So anyway, teaching people how to set up a business model, how to take an idea from concept to implementation. I would love to bring you down there.
I'd love to help.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
My
Truly.
wife and my daughters actually go to Mexico. Well, they went like 4 years ago and did a volunteer trip. So yeah, we love going.
Come on down, man. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So I love that you're coaching. And here's the other thing too, man. And major kudos to you for this. I love that you're taking your business endeavors and you're working the family aspect into this because honestly, man, this is something that your kids will never ever forget.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, I mean, and this is as a son of a salesman. My dad worked for Mitsubishi Electronics for over 20 years.
Oh wow.
He's been a salesman of some sort for almost 50, and he was always present despite traveling as much as he did in his heyday. I mean, he did the conference circuit and stuff. And so when I'm at conferences like this and I'm talking with him, oh yeah, we had this great sushi over here, or I'm hanging out with this guy over here, he sighs every time. And he's like, man, I miss it so much. And I'm like, well, then let's find a role for you. Like, one of the best things that I wish I could do, and my dad and I are so tight. I'm like, I wish there was a way to like wind back the clock and like participate with him in what he was passionate about, because now I'm getting to do some of that too.
Right.
Dude, soak it up, enjoy it. That's such a beautiful phase of life that you're going through. Yeah.
Yeah. 3
Very
years
cool,
ago,
man.
they didn't want anything to do with us. And now all of a sudden they're like, hey, Dad, when's the next conference? I'm like,
I love it, man. That's so cool.
So-
Absolutely. Well, Kal, thanks so much for joining the show here. I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
talking more with you. It just again, part of the joy of these conferences is building relationships and then seeing them sustained over the years. I mean, we got to hang out and meet last year. We had the podcast last year at Disney. And so it's awesome to sit down again here. And there's never ending conversations that you can have with folks at these events, because last time we were talking about the benefit of franchising versus sole proprietorship.
Yes.
And now we're talking about life and business. And so
Yep.
it's just so cool, man. So thanks so much. Cheers to you. Cheers to your
Absolutely.
businesses and your family, sir.
To you as well. And thank you for having me here.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you guys so much for watching. Cheers to y'all.
you.
Join us next time at Inspection Fuel. We've got more great coverage coming up here from Inspection Fuel in Dallas. We'll see you next time.